Hi, this is A. Wilson. That ain't it tells it like a TIL. If you like my video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Topic I'm going to talk to you today about is the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 6, episode 7. Like I said in my previous video, for some reason, after you watch the episode, when you go back, they have watch what happens live after certain episodes. So since they're doing it like that, I'm already on 7. I really was supposed to be on 6, but anyway, I had 6 with Lisa Barlow, but I didn't like that. But somebody said it about 2 weeks ago. Why was they inserting watch what happens live after Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And they don't do that, especially on Peacock. Now I don't know about if you got the real Broward channel, but anyway, back to the show. The show started off where the show continued where it left off on episode 6, where Lisa had showed a poster board of all her cases being dismissed and stuff like that. And so Whitney said that if you're not gonna listen to me and you keep talking about my business, I'm gonna walk away. I can walk away. When she got ready to walk away, Angie said, Lisa. I mean, Angie said, come back here, Whitney, come back here. And then Mary said, Whitney, you sit down. Whitney, sit down. Whitney didn't sit down, so they came back. And then they, like I said, they started off from that. Next thing you know, Whitney came back and sat down, and and they were saying, well, and then Angie was saying, well, Lisa, you really don't like to address what you do to people, address your issues. What you do, you're all good with people and fine with people, and all fine with people and stuff, and stuff. And then when you are mad at somebody, upset with somebody, then you go digging up dirt on them and they pass and stuff like that. And then Lisa said, I haven't done that. I haven't done that. All y'all girls accuse me. I've never done that. And then so Whitney said, you did it to me in the past. You did it to all the rest of the ladies and stuff. And Mary said, you sure did it to me. And then she said, well, and then Heather chimed in and said, Lisa, you do that. When you're upset with people, you go and find out information on them, and then you use it against them. That's kind of hard for me to be your friend when you do stuff like that, Lisa. When you do stuff like that, Lisa, you even did it to Mary, and you did it to me. And then she said, but y'all was talking about my businesses when I was not there in the cabinet and kept it. And then Helen said, yeah, Broadwyn brought it up. And she said it was all over the news, but I didn't see it over the news. And then all the other ladies said they knew it on the news. She said, I did take up for you. You said nobody didn't support you. And then so Meredith said, I took up for you too. And then and then Mary said, did you really take up for her, Mary? And then Mary said, I did, Mary, I did. Mary said, no, no, you didn't. And then so and then so she said, well, she said, well, you never take a responsibility for your stuff. She said, no. She said, Angie, and plus you talked about me and my family, and you talked about my tequila line. And then Heather chimed in and said, that's not the only reason why you mad at Angie, because she talked about your tequila line, your son. There was other stuff that you brought up. And Angie said, yeah, you sure brought up other stuff. You brought up stuff about my business, and you brought up stuff about my husband Sean and stuff last year and stuff like that. And she talking about, well, y'all came at me. And then so he said, I never covered your business like you did me, Lisa. That's what Angie said. She said, you do french fries and she said, you do french fries and I do franchise. And then Mary, what did she say? She said she do franchise instead of french fries. And Mary said, oh, that's a good read there. And so you can tell Mary and Nancy was just there to see the action and see what was going on and kind of maneuver around it. But anyway, she said, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of y'all blaming me and accusing me of stuff. I didn't leak that stuff. I didn't leak this stuff. I don't know what y'all talking about, what you're talking about. And I said, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And then she said, well, I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm finna leave. I'm finna leave. So Lisa decided to leave and stuff. And so because everybody was getting on, they then switch to the next scene. And the next scene, but Lisa do that though, because Lisa found out that stuff and stuff that she was talking about. I think Lisa was going to find out stuff about Monica. But anyway, I went to the next scene, and the next scene was the next scene was let me pause this video and get some water and I'll be right back. I'm back. The next episode is Mary at a shop and she was telling the man, said, "Ooh, everything is nice except for up here." So when you say up there the lighting is too light, ain't nobody gonna come to the shop like that. He said, "Oh, let me see what's going on in the back, what's going on in the back." She said, "It looked pretty good. She looked pretty in the back." She said, "Well, yeah, just before we open, I want you to get all this fixed up, all this fixed. She's gonna be able to get fixed up by the time the day we open." The guy who was helping her, gets contract up business, get a business up, he told her, "Yeah, yeah, gonna be up front." She said, "Okay, okay." And then switch to the next scene. That was like a cute filler scene to me. But anyway, and switch to the next scene. And the next scene was Mary having, I think, lunch or breakfast or something with Heather. And Heather said, "Mary, what did you think about what was going on last night? What happened last night? How did you feel about it?" Mary said, "Ooh, there was a lot going on last night, a lot going on." And it was very much a lot going on. How you looking to see what was going on? And she said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, Lisa don't want to, Lisa don't want to, Lisa don't want to accept that what she did and what she does to people is not right and is not right and is foul." And she said, "Yeah, Lisa, oh, Mary said, yeah, Lisa always want to play victim. That's what I'm talking about. Lisa want to play the victim and stuff like that." And she said, "Mary, why come you didn't want to drink none of that tequila when we was there last night?" Mary said, "Oh no, I had took some medicine. I had took some medication, and medication smell like hospital." She said, Heather said, "Mary, you always said you said Jen Shaw smelled like a hospital." They showed flashback to Jen Shaw, and then she said, "Now you talking about taking medication smell like a hospital? What is it? Is it the taste or the smell of the people?" Mary said, "Well, it's all of it. It's the taste." I said, "I know what Mary's talking about. 'Cause when you take medication, sometimes you can drink a whole glass of water, a whole lot of water, and that taste is still come in your mouth. And medicine do taste nasty. But I think Mary didn't really want to drink that tequila because Mary talking about she liked that. She liked that 2003 Don Perrier. So she always talking about she don't have the Don Perrier. She don't want to drink. So I think that was Mary probably. Mary just didn't want to drink that. But anyway, let's switch to the next scene. And the next scene, was Lisa. She had invited Broadwyn out to lunch to talk. And she said, "Broadwyn, about everything that was going on last night, and so many people were coming at me and stuff got out of hand. We really didn't get a chance to talk and address our issues." She said, "No, Lisa, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you too, but it was a lot. It was a lot." And she said, "Lisa, I'm a person like this. I want everything to be right. I want everything to be perfect. I want everybody to like me and accept me and stuff like that." She said, "I gotta learn." And she said, "I gotta learn to stop doing that." She said, "Even Todd told me I should not be doing that after all the stuff you said about me and stuff like that." She said, "But Barbara, you said stuff about me." And Barbara said, "No, you said stuff about me at your party, Lisa. You said that I only married Todd for his money, and I sucked blank for money, and that was hurtful to me." And then Lisa told me, we both hurt each other. We both hurt each other. "No, Lisa, you had said that about that woman do that. You don't know what that woman do with her husband behind closed doors. Maybe that's what you do." And so I was saying, yeah, she was so mean spirited to that woman. I think she jealous because Barbara got the life that she wanted and stuff like that. And Lisa don't want nobody to outdo her. That's one thing I've noticed since I started back watching, because I was watching season 1 and 2, and then season 3 I didn't watch it too much, and then I think after season 3 that's when Mary left, so I didn't watch it back until season 5 when Mary came back. But anyway, after that, she said we both. She said, "You hurt me by saying that stuff about me. She said, well, I'm sorry, bro, when I didn't mean to say that stuff about you. She said, but you said that stuff about my family. You said stuff about my son, family, and my business. And then Barbara said, Lisa, I'm sorry that I said that about your son and then how he made his money and stuff like that. And she said, can we agree that talking about one another's businesses and family members is off limits? And then Lisa said, yeah, I can agree with you. I can agree with you. I'm sorry, Barbara, and I apologize, Barbara. And say, I apologize too. So he moved on from this subject. And then next thing you know, they shows the next scene. The next scene was Whitney talking to Justin, and she was saying, "Yeah, we first bought this house, and we had invited some people over, but then there was a lot of people asking me why do I have a pole in my room, why do I have a pole in my house, a pole in my house." And I was telling, I was trying to learn how to pole dance, and I like pole dance, and then they made such a big deal out of it. My friends and family, I just took it down, just took it down. She said, "Now, Justin, I want to put that pole back up." He said, "Oh, you really want to put that pole?" She said, "I want to put that pole back up because I want to still learn how to pole dance, and then also I'm going back to the original me. The original me said, "Oh, you want to go back to the original me?" I was saying, "Yeah, the original me, the original me, Whitney, was you being wild and crazy." And so he said, "Okay, okay, Whitney," and stuff like that. That was another filler scene I just added in. This episode, bit to me had a lot of filler scenes, but anyway, switch to the next scene, and the next scene was Mary talking to her cousin, and she said he was she said she was on her way. She said he was a general contractor. I think his name is Andy or Randy or something like that. But anyway, they got to the church, and she was saying that she really did like the renovations that they did to the church, and everything looked good. And then she said, "What about the chairs? Did they replace all the chairs?" She said, "Yeah." And so she passed by, and she said, "Well, really, they really pews instead of chairs." She passed by that pew, and she said, "Why is this sticking out right here? Why is it?" He said, "Oh, that show is bad. That show is bad. That's a health hazard. Somebody gets stuck by it." She said, "Yeah, make sure they fix that up." She said, she said, "I don't want that to be like that." And then they went to sit down, and she said, "Yeah, you know, me and my mama had been separated and been apart and stuff like that." And she said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." When I heard what was going on about Robert Jr., I felt kind of sad. I felt kind of sad because she said, "Yeah." It was the same way about me. It was like something about the church that brings you back into respect. She said, "Yeah." Everybody in the family knew what our grandmother wanted, including my mom. But it was like when grandmother died, when grandmother died, she blamed me for everything because they wanted me to be the head of the church and part of the church. He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we all realized that." He said, "But it was like after your mama took over, after your mama died, she tried to take over. And then when we had to call the police and get her out of the church, she got mad." She said, "Yeah, she got mad and turned it against me, turned it in against me." She said, "Grandma one told me that it was time for me to come back to the church and do the church." And but she said, "But look, that I know they was gonna have me being over the church stuff instead of my mom." And Mary said, "My mom held that against me for a while, and then she turned against me." She said, "Don't you know? I really did miss my mom because in some cases I did want my mom, but she wanted me to leave her alone, so I left her alone up until a few months ago when she passed away." So yeah, Mary's mama passed away sometime last year. But anyway, they got to talk about that. He said, "Well, yeah," he said, "I'm praying and I hope Robert Jr. do better." He said, I hope he get better too and stuff like that." And so it switched to the next scene, and the next scene was Angie saying that she started out as a hairdresser, but then she's got two or three salons that she run now. But she said she has decided that she wanted to be back doing hair in the chair. So she decided to invite Heather, and she did Heather hair. She rolled Heather hair, and she was saying, "Heather, I thought everything was cool with me and Lisa." She said, "Yeah, but you and Lisa made up." She said, "I thought we did." She said, "But then this lady came in and said that she was Lisa's assistant, and well, yeah, she came to pick up all the products And like I said, it was, like I said, it had been in my storeroom for about 2 years, and it got a little dusty. But I did wipe it off and clean out. And then I got a text from Lisa saying that she gave me $600 for the product, but even she gave me $600 for the product, even though the product was dusted. She said that that product wasn't dusty. I dust most of that stuff out before I gave it to her lady. And she said, "What did you do?" And I said, "What did you do back?" She said, "I texted back. I texted back and I told her there was no need for her to pay me. There was no need for her to pay me. Those were her products and stuff like that." And she said, "But she already BMO'd me the money." And so when I saw it, she did have BMO me the money. And then I told her my place is not dusty. My place is clean. And like I said, I don't need your money. And she said, "Okay, well." And then Heather said, "What?" Heather said, "Yeah, that don't seem like an apology. That don't seem like she made it with you, but I was there and she did apologize." She said, "That's what I'm saying." She said, after the second text, I didn't text her anymore because I didn't want to go back and forth, back and forth. She said, "That's what I'm talking about, Angie. That's what I'm talking about." Lisa claims that she got over stuff and did stuff, but then she do little sneaky and snide stuff behind the scenes and stuff like that. And she said, "Oh yeah, that's why it's hard to be friends with Lisa." I was saying, "Honey child, they make Lisa be like Sheree, be the bone collector. Put out information, spread out information, get the girls all riled up and upset." So I guess that's what Lisa taking the thing now. So switch to the last and final scene, and that's when Angie met up with Mary, and Angie was telling Mary she was telling Mary that Mary, how can you be Lisa's friend, take up for Lisa when Lisa's always playing the victim and Lisa's always doing that little shade stuff behind the scenes. She said, "Well, I did take up for Lisa back in the past, but now me and Lisa on good terms. On good terms." And she said, "I just said, how can you be on good terms?" She said, "You know what Lisa did to me?" She said, "What?" She said, "Don't you know when she was mad at you that year? Don't you know she had encouraged me to go and look up stuff about you and stuff like that?" And I said, "No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I wouldn't do it. I would never do that to you." She said, but Lisa told me to do it, but I didn't do it." And she said, "Lisa had sent me text and tried to give me money. I told her I need no money because those are her products. Those are her products." And then she Venmoed me $600, and then I gave it back to her. And then she told me my place was dusty. I thought me and her were in a good place. I thought she apologized. She said, "Well, that's just Lisa. Lisa's like that." She said, "But I don't know if I can believe you or not, Angie. But what it is, I am going to ask Lisa about it." She said, "You can ask Lisa about it. I ain't got no problem with it." And you seen the words go across the screen. I don't know what it is about marriage that she just want to believe Lisa wholeheartedly out of love. But Lisa been doing stuff back and forth. This, like I said, this episode was kind of lackluster to me. They had points here and there that I really want to talk about. But I just put some of the scenes that were not too good in the video, so the video will be okay. That's all I have for this video. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even just like a TI is. I am out.